You keep waiting for some big moment to change your life. Some magical morning where you suddenly wake up disciplined, focused, confident, successful. But what if that version of you is never coming? What if the person you become 5 years from now is being created by the small decisions you keep ignoring today? That thought changed me, because most people think transformation is dramatic. They think it's one giant breakthrough. But honestly, real change is usually boring. It's waking up early when nobody is watching. It's staying focused when your mind wants distraction. It's going to the gym even when your body feels heavy. It's working on your future while everybody else is busy escaping theirs. That's the real difference. And the scary part is, deep down, most people already know this. They already know what's destroying their potential. The endless scrolling, the constant procrastination, the excuses, the comfort addiction. But instead of changing, they wait. They wait until life becomes painful enough to force them to move. And sometimes that pain comes too late. I think one of the hardest truths to accept is that your future does not care about your intentions. It responds to your actions. You can dream all day, visualize all day, talk about success all day. But at some point, reality asks one question. What are you doing consistently? Because consistency exposes everything. It exposes who's serious, who's distracted, who actually wants more from life, and who only likes the idea of it. And honestly, I think discipline is misunderstood. People think discipline means becoming emotionless. It doesn't. Discipline is simply learning how to act correctly even when your emotions disagree. That's all it is. Because there will be mornings where you don't feel motivated. Days where progress feels invisible. Moments where your mind tells you to quit. And if your entire life depends on how you feel in those moments, you'll never build anything meaningful. That's why self-control matters so much. Not because life should feel miserable, but because comfort can quietly destroy ambition. A lot of people never fail loudly. They fail slowly, by wasting 2 hours a day, then 4, then years. And eventually they wake up looking at a life they barely recognize, wondering where all the time went. That's why time matters more than almost anything. Because time becomes everything. Your body, your mindset, your income, your confidence, your future. Everything is shaped by what you repeatedly do with your time. And honestly, one thing I've realized is that struggle is not always a sign you're failing. Sometimes struggle is proof that you're finally growing. The gym hurts because your body is adapting. Responsibility feels heavy because you're evolving. Discipline feels uncomfortable because your old habits are dying. Growth rarely feels comfortable while it's happening. And maybe that's why most people avoid it. Because becoming stronger requires letting go of the version of yourself that keeps choosing comfort over progress. But here's the thing. There's also another version of you waiting on the other side of those decisions. A version of you that's healthier, sharper, more focused, more respected, more confident. Not because life suddenly became easy, but because you became stronger. And I think that's the real goal. Not perfection, strength, mental strength, emotional strength, the ability to trust yourself. Because once you trust yourself, everything changes. You stop needing constant motivation. You stop needing people to push you. You stop negotiating with your excuses. You become dangerous in a quiet way. The kind of person who keeps showing up no matter what mood they're in. And honestly, that's rare now. We live in a world where people are constantly distracted. Everybody wants results quickly. Everybody wants comfort instantly. Everybody wants the reward without the repetition. But life doesn't work like that. The people who build meaningful lives are usually the people willing to stay committed long after excitement disappears. That's why discipline will always outperform motivation. Motivation gets you started. Discipline changes your life. And maybe the biggest lesson here is understanding that nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is secretly planning your future for you. Nobody cares about your goals more than you do. That responsibility is yours. And at first that sounds heavy, but honestly, it's freeing too. Because once you accept that your life is your responsibility, you stop waiting. You start building. Slowly, quietly, consistently. And one day, people call you lucky without ever seeing the years you spent fighting yourself behind the scenes. So if you're listening to this right now, ask yourself honestly, what kind of life are your current habits creating? Because your future is not built in one giant moment. It's built every day. You either choose growth or choose comfort. And eventually, those choices become your identity.
What really stood out to me after listening to all of this wasn't the money part. It was the mindset behind it. Because if you remove the cars, the status, the lifestyle, what's left is a message a lot of people honestly need to hear right now. And that message is simple. Your life changes the moment you stop waiting for motivation and start building discipline. Most people already know what they should be doing. They know they should wake up earlier. They know they should stop wasting hours scrolling. They know they should work on their health, their goals, their future. The problem is not information anymore. The problem is action. We live in a world where distractions are easier than purpose. Comfort is easier than growth, and excuses are everywhere. But the truth is, every day you delay becoming the person you know you could be, you slowly train yourself to accept less from life. That's the dangerous part. Not failure, not struggle, acceptance, accepting average habits, accepting wasted potential, accepting a version of yourself that you know is smaller than who you could become. And I think that's what this conversation really highlights. The people who move forward in life are usually not the smartest people in the room. They're the people who keep going even when they don't feel like it. That's the difference. Anybody can feel inspired for one day. Anybody can talk big when they're emotional. But the real shift happens when you learn how to move without needing constant motivation. When you can sit down and work while your mind is full of doubt. When you can stay consistent while nobody's clapping for you. When you can improve quietly without needing validation every 5 minutes. That's where real confidence comes from. Not pretending to be powerful, not acting superior, not trying to look successful online. Real confidence comes from keeping promises to yourself. And honestly, I think a lot of young people today are not lazy because they're incapable. They're exhausted mentally. Too much comparison, too much noise, too much consuming and not enough creating. People spend so much time watching other people live that they forget to build their own life. And eventually you wake up one day realizing years went by, but you never fully committed to yourself. That hits hard, because deep down most people already know what they need to do. The gym, the business idea, the skill they keep avoiding, the conversation they need to have, the discipline they keep postponing. They already know. The real question is whether they're finally ready to stop negotiating with themselves. Because growth is uncomfortable. There will be mornings where you doubt yourself, weeks where you feel invisible, moments where it feels like nothing is working. But those moments are usually the moments that shape you the most. That's why consistency matters more than intensity. A person who improves a little every single day will always beat the person who waits for the perfect moment to change their life. And maybe that's the biggest lesson here. Nobody is coming to save your future for you. Nobody is going to magically build your confidence, your discipline, your purpose, or your life. At some point, you have to decide that you're done wasting your own potential. And once that decision becomes real, everything starts changing. Not overnight, but slowly. The way you think changes. The way you carry yourself changes. Your habits change. Your standards change. And eventually, your entire life changes. So if you take anything from this video, let it be this. Stop focusing so much on who you could have been by now. Focus on who you still have time to become. Because the version of you keep imagining, the disciplined version, the focused version, the confident version, that person is not imaginary. That person is built through the decisions you make every single day from this point forward.